Hey YouTube, it's Sean, Griffin RC Planes. So this will be video number 2 in the beginner series. We talked about control surfaces and how they need to be straight and level when safe select is turned off in order for your plane to fly. Perfect. And the transmitter needs to have the trims all centered. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make sure the trims are centered and why you have trims, how to use them, and then we'll go through all 4 control surfaces and make sure they're level and straight like they should be. So the first thing we need to do is turn the transmitter on. You always turn the transmitter on first, period. No ifs, ands, or buts, we're not talking about no more. First, okay? Then the plane. And then you don't touch the plane, because right now the gyro is initializing. It's figuring out level, okay? Don't disturb the plane at all until it's done doing these dances. The ailerons and the rudder and the elevator, they'll kind of do a little ch-ch-ch-ch, depending on exactly what plane you have. But once it's done, then let it sit for a second before you touch it. So now we need to make sure if the safe select is turned off or on. The easiest way to determine if safe select is on or off, turn the plane upside down and watch the ailerons. Right now, safe select is off. If it was on, the ailerons would be deflecting to roll the plane over. So now let's turn safe on. Watch this aileron right now when I flip the switch to on. See it? It knows the plane is upside down and it's trying to right side itself up. So safe is on. Turn safe off to check your control surfaces. Why do you check your control surfaces when safe is turned off? Because safe is always trying to keep the plane level. So we don't want to check our control surfaces when safe is on, because then they won't be straight and true how they should be. So safe select is turned off. Let's look at all 4 control surfaces and see if they're straight. On this particular plane, you can feel the wing and the aileron right here in this gap, and you can feel if it's high or low. Okay, you can use a straight edge, you can use all kinds of stuff to check that. And then let's look at the elevator. So I found a ruler here to lay across the top of the elevator, and that is a good way to see if the elevator is straight, or the rudder. And you can also put it on the ailerons across the wing to see if they're straight and level. So right here we can see the elevator, and we can see that it is straight. Now, if you were checking this with safe select on, which would be pointless, just look at the difference. See how the elevator went up? Now safe is off. It goes back level. I'm going to turn safe on. Watch the elevator. That's why you don't check your control surfaces with safe select on. Now check the rudder. This one's actually off a little bit. Hasn't been flown in quite some time. Alright, so it's off a little bit. Now let's check the trim in the rudder here. So the rudder is operated by the left stick here, left and right. You can see it moving. The trim lever is at the bottom. You can either count clicks each direction and find center, or center makes a higher pitch tone. Let's listen here. Hear that? I'm going to go to the right few, and then I'll go back to the left. You hear it? Okay, now you know the rudder trim is centered. Safe select is off. We can put whatever we're going to use against our straight edge here to see if it's straight. And it needs to come towards me just a hair. So to adjust the mechanical trim, there's a little clevis here. It's got a rubber band around it to hold it tight. Slide the little rubber band back and then pop the clevis open. Use something to kind of pop it open. Be gentle back here. Alright, so then get the clevis out. So here is the clevis that you would separate from the control surface and adjust. Slide the rubber band off. There's a pinch point in here, so you want to separate it with something, and then only the pin is on one side. Okay, so it kind of makes sense there. And you take it out like that, and then if you need to make the control surface go down, in this case, you would unscrew the clevis, and that would make it longer, okay, depending on which way you need to go. And the clevis is screwed onto this control rod that's threaded. So if you unscrew the clevis, it's going to bring the clevis out, which will in turn push the rudder over a little bit. Sometimes you need a pair of pliers. So I've got a pair of pliers to hold the threaded rod, and I'm just going to turn it 360 degrees, so it's one full rotation, and then we'll try it again and see what it looks like. Close the clevis, make sure it's closed all the way. Some click together when they're closed, some just have pressure to hold them closed. And then slide the rubber band back over it to hold it. So now we can stick our straight edge back on the rudder and check and see if it's straight. And you can check it in several spots, and you need to do that with all four: elevator, rudder, both ailerons. The ailerons, you can check them going across like this. If you have something long enough to span across both sides of the wing, then you can really check it. But right here and here, I can tell that they're level. And they need to be the same on each side. And the trim works the same way for all the control surfaces. They all have center. You can hear the high-pitched noise when they're centered. Some transmitters are different. Some that have a screen, you can see when it's centered. Transmitter like that, you need to either count the clicks in each direction or listen for that high-pitched noise to find center. Alright, well, that's centering your control surfaces. Some planes are different. In the one that we're using, that's how you make sure they're straight. We're only using this one as an example. So that's how you do or check the control surfaces to make sure they're straight. Safe select off. Center the trims in the transmitter. Check your control surfaces with a straight edge or eyeballs, something. Check them in a few different spots, and then mechanically adjust it. Now that goes for the same as the steering wheel on this type plane. There's a control rod going to the steering wheel as well. So that's just another thing to look at. All right, guys. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. If you haven't, if you have, thank you so much. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you need help with something, leave them in the comments. If you have an idea for a video, leave them in the comments. And I hope you guys have a good time flying. Okay, guys. Hey, thank you. And until next time, you'll see me here.